becomes more and more important to be on level field playing, and spaceflight definitely is also an important part in the diplomacy area.
Huge thank you, Matthias. And we have with us Josef Aschbacher. You are the Director General of ESA. Thank you for joining us. So in a nutshell here, what we've been talking about is Europe's capabilities for independent launch. Are you going to make this happen? You have 15 seconds.
It's not for me to make it happen. It's all the others to make it happen. But certainly we have been working very hard on it. We have consulted experts, independent experts, to help us giving advice what this would mean for Europe as a unity of all the countries, the inspiration we would give, the economic benefits, the geopolitical strength that would be portrayed through such an activity. So there's a lot of interesting facets, and you have just heard Matthias and Thomas talking about those because it's so important, and yes, we are working on it. But let's talk about JUICE because that's why we're here. Also another excellence where Europe is really good, and let's look how our satellites and our launches are doing.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Huge thank you.
Thank you.
And to talk about JUICE, I am joined by Raphaël Chevrier from Arianespace. Raphaël is going to take us step by step all the way through every step of the mission. Raphaël.
Hello, Liz.
Hello. Welcome to Road to Space, and I'm going to let you take over from here and tell us what the next steps are.
Yes, so this morning we are launching towards the east, where we benefit from the slingshot effect given by the rotation of the Earth. So the launcher performs a first pitch maneuver in order to get us into the right direction. And only 2 minutes and 17 seconds after liftoff, the two boosters have done their jobs of providing the main thrust, so we don't need them anymore. They are detached from the launcher. Shortly after that, the fairing, which protected the spacecraft from the environment of the launch, is also jettisoned as we have crossed the limits of the atmosphere. Once the launcher reaches an intermediate orbit, the main stage is cut off and separated. So then the upper stage takes over, which engine is going to power for about 16 minutes in order to raise speed and altitude and release JUICE on the targeted orbit. So, by the way, the little towers that you see on the motion picture, they represent a chain of telemetry stations that are receiving data from the Ariane 5 in real time all along the flight path. After some orientation maneuvers, JUICE is separated on a liberations orbit. It means that it will have the required speed to escape literally the gravitational pull of the Earth. Then this is almost the end of the mission from the launcher, as we still need to perform some disposal maneuvers of the upper stage, but JUICE is only beginning its journey. ESA teams will use the Norcia ground telemetry stations in Australia to acquire the signal from the spacecraft and take full control of it. 1 hour and a half after liftoff, Joule will start deploying itself like a butterfly into space. First, it will unfold the large solar panels. Their total surface is 85 square meters. This is definitely bigger than my Parisian apartment. And then, in the following days, it will deploy its many antennas and probes. So the animation here doesn't depict the increasing altitude that JUICE is going to get, getting farther and farther from Earth on its way to its 8-year journey to Jupiter.
Thank you so much, Raphael. It's all very clear. And actually, as Raphael was speaking, so you can see the pictures of Ariane on the launch pad. As Raphael was speaking, we hit the next milestone in our in the chronology, which is, of course, the -10 weather update. And yes, I'm looking at the board. All is green. I
all is green right now.
Anything in my earpiece? I don't see anyone picking up a mic. So it's looking good so far.
It is green and we're good to go.
Looking good to go.
What we check, like Stefan said, we are usually checking the wind at high altitude, the wind in the vicinity of the launch pad, and also the risk of lightning. Yesterday, it is the risk of lightning that prevented us from launching, but today, everything's good. We're good to go. We can continue the operations.
That sounds great. And continuing the operations means that we're heading towards what we call the synchronized sequence. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So there's another team. You see the teams working here. final preparation underway here in Jupiter Control. But of course, there's another team at the Launch Control Center, which is much closer to the launch. It's about 3-4 kilometers to the launcher. And they've been working since last night. They've not slept. Tell us more about them.
Well, these teams are monitoring all the operations during the final countdown. So, for example, they are filling the cryogenic stages. They are cooling the Vulcan engine, that's the main engine of the launcher. They are pressurizing the upper stage sphere.
This is them hard at work in the morning.
Exactly. And I think the images were shot this morning, actually. And so it's all these operations that are leading us to the start of the synchronized sequence.
So what is this synchronized sequence, Raphael?
Well, it's a real crucial step.
You have 30 seconds.
Yeah. So I'm going to make it very quick. It's basically a succession of operations aimed at giving more and more autonomy to the launcher and to set it in its flight configuration.
Yeah, because
30
it's
seconds.
an irreversible. Once we've started the synchronized sequence, we can't go back.
No, so we are going.
Absolutely. And we're going to now wait and hear.
À tous de DDO,
Right.
attention pour le début de la séquence finale lanceur. Top H0 moins 7 minutes.
So there we heard it from the DDO, who is the Range Operations Manager. We'll talk about him in a minute. And he's just announced the start of the synchronized sequence. Just a quick question. Why does it have to happen at -7? We were just saying.
Well, I mean, this is obviously not a magic number. This is just the time for all these last-minute operations to be performed. For example, we are topping up and pressurizing the tanks. We switch the power supply from ground to board, and only then the launcher is going to be fully awakened for launch.
Fantastic. For those who are joining us, we are 6 minutes and 20 seconds to liftoff of Ariane 5, carrying JUICE on the first leg of its journey into space and towards Jupiter. As Raphael was saying, Ariane, we were talking about this earlier, Ariane normally launches 2 passengers, but this time it's a single passenger. So can you just go quickly into what difference that makes for the launcher?
For the launcher, this is a very precious passenger, but for the launcher, it remains exactly the same. You have the 2 lateral boosters, you have the main stage, you have the upper stage, 1 fairing. We are also launching towards the east, which is the same direction as for standard telecommunication satellites. Only the final destination is a bit different. This is Jupiter. It is the last time that we performed such a single configuration. One of the last time was for launching the Space Telescope James Webb. Let's hope today is going to be as flawless and smooth.
Absolutely. And let's quickly now go into the film and have a look at the last couple of months of launch preparations. So, our passenger is sitting safe and sound, tucked under the fairing, as you can see, waiting for liftoff in just over 2 minutes. Raphael and I have moved to the skybox overlooking the Jupiter control room, where, as you can imagine,
À tous de DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute. Top H0, moins 1 minute. À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage AP, décollage. La propulsion est nominale. La propulsion est nominale. La trajectoire est nominale, tous les paramètres bord sont nominaux.